Hello, in this video I'm going to tell you about the two things I learned from rewatching my videos as I was editing them today on this fine Sunday. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Duncan Alderdice, and the reason I'm making these videos is to document the journey I take as I become who I am by making small improvements to my life every single day. So, number one, it's been Sunday, so I feel like I have been working. I guess it counts as work. Most of the day was spent editing videos, as well as have been working on a couple thumbnails, then doing a couple other things. I think total 4 videos edited total, completed. Oh, as well as I crossed off a bunch of things from the to-do list that I had. Mainly things like setting up like hydro and renter's insurance and setting up the Wi-Fi for the new apartment. But so in rewatch, like editing the videos, I was rewatching them, and there was one specific moment where I was listening to myself, and I was going like, okay, I'm listening to the train of thought, and I remember the moment, and I remember in the moment I'm like sort of panicking internally, but in watching it doesn't particularly seem like that. And like if I'm listening and engaged with me, like me the listener listening to me, like it seems to be following a predictable flow. But then I can see my mood shift, and I go like I can see myself panicking, and I articulate that I'm panicking because I'm worried about the person who, like I'm worried about keeping the person who's listening engaged, like I'm losing that retention, the viewer retention. And so what I thought was just very interesting was it did not show overtly, but also it seemed inappropriate when I brought it up. In that I was engaged, and then it was like all of a sudden it seems like it's not really, like I was speaking to the voice that wasn't speaking, that voice being in my head, and not like a schizophrenic like voice in your head kind of idea, but more that negative self-talk, like that self-doubt that comes in. Then I was engaging with that, and there was no need to. So then it was like, okay, cool. So then when I'm recording the videos moving forward, the adjustment I will make is when I hear that voice of self-doubt coming in, which has been going on for the past like 2.5 minutes, like not consistently, but at some points when I've been stammering a little bit, I'm just going to push past and kind of ignore it, because it is only in my head. From my perspective, it's not what the person who's watching this, who's genuinely engaged in it. And if there's a particular way of me articulating my thought that I would like to be improving on, the mere fact of practicing it by creating these videos will lead to an improvement in the long term that I can't shortcut. And the person who's listening to this video right now is engaged, and I'm disengaging them by obsessing and articulating with that. So that was interesting. But then the other thing was me speaking about the sales calls, and specifically what I said was going like my job is not to sell, but my job is to make them feel comfortable making a decision. And then so I thought about the video I made like 2 days ago about like tire kickers kind of thing, and I feel like there's a point to that, and this has given birth to the third fundamental value I think I want of the Become Who You Are organization. Like one being like rigorous authenticity, then you have like lead with the truth, and the third one being absolute ownership, where it's like if you just assume everything's your fault, the way your life is right now is 100% as a consequence of things you have done. If you just make that assumption, you will always be able to improve your life, and improve your life quicker and more effectively over the long term than advocating any of that responsibility to external factors. Now, that's not to be unreasonable, because there are external factors at play, but I think it's more just thinking about them at all doesn't ever serve you. So just assuming that it's all within your control is going to be the better way. Because then what I'm thinking about is like there's one guy who was the frustrating guy who like there's 5 meetings that I've had with him and he said he was going to sign up this weekend, and then we'd reconnect Monday or Tuesday, and he has not signed up. And I didn't think he was going to sign up, because he seemed like it was like confronting the decision was that was the scary part. There was some resistance to that, like he'd come close but then always want to retreat, because it's easier to avoid the decision than it is to actually make the decision. And I know that it's avoiding the decision because the answer to the decision is not yes or no. It's I'm going to think about it. It's I'm going to avoid it. Like, he hasn't said no. That's the thing. So then I have failed at making him feel comfortable making the decision, which is my job as the salesperson. That's what my job is. So the reason it's taking five meetings to get there is because I'm not good enough at making the guy feel comfortable and getting him to confront it and decide. So then it's a skill deficit, but then that's a good thing, because then it's within my control. But then instead of lamenting and wasting time being frustrated with people's inability to make a decision, because I can't control the way that other people are, I can just navigate the world. Navigate. I can't change the way other people are. Like, there's always going to be people who are incapable of making a decision, because people don't often make decisions. It's easier to avoid making decisions than stay within the kind of the world that has been given to you. And so that is what my job as a salesperson too is, to get them to, not where I left off the camera. I need to do a better job actually charging it. But that is the role of, like, the sales conversation is to present an alternate reality and then get them to confront the possibility and legitimacy of engaging in that alternate reality. Whether or not they engage in it or decide not to, at least a decision is made. But so if the process is taking forever, that's because I'm not good enough at making him feel comfortable and reassuring that it's a good decision, and directing his attention away from other things and towards it. Because it's if I reflect back on the conversations I've had with him, like, consistently it is like he talks a lot, and when you're nervous you talk a lot, and you're nervous when you're not sure, like, but it was consistent. Like, he would come in and then always want to like oh yeah, no, I got to think about it, like, just like let's do this later, like, just trying to push it off, trying to find a reason. Where am I trying to go? This is where the panic comes in, and it needs to stop. I can. I'm listening to someone become interested, like, if I'm thinking back of the conversations, I've listened to someone be interested in acquiring a program that can help scale their business and change their life, talk themselves out of it through approaching and avoiding the decision consistently. So then that's what my job is to force the person to confront it in a way that they feel comfortable, and then taking the next step to make the decision they want for themselves. So and then again, and so instead of being frustrated and blaming the person and going like, oh, they're just a bunch of tire kickers, people can't fucking make decisions, if I just adopt the frame of, like, just absolute ownership, it's like they are unable to make a decision because I'm not good enough at making them feel comfortable making that decision. So then I need to get better at that. And if I accept that frame, then this particular individual, whether or not they sign up, unimportant, will serve as a learning lesson, learning point for me for the future. Instead of a source of agony, which is it has been up until this point. I fucking lost the thought. the source of anxiety. Because there's always going to be people who the program's going to be a lot more money for. It's going to be a lot of money. It's going to seem like a lot of money. It's going to feel like a lot of money. It's not going to feel 100% sure that it is the right decision. And like, there's always going to be reasons for them to get away. And so if I can actually get good at making, no matter who I'm talking to, comfortable making a decision, then there's nothing I couldn't sell. And then then I've successfully fully acquired that skill. Legitimately. And then I can without doubt hit quota. And then I can without doubt start the own business. Because then it's just a question of, can I get someone to confront a decision? Confront and make a decision. That's my job. Which comes from the frame of absolute ownership. I think I'm repeating myself here, but I am repeating myself because I'm actively trying to work out the thought that it is that I'm learning. With the frame of absolute ownership, there will always be growth for the individual who adopts it. If you even slightly blame other things, you will never progress forward. The same way, if you avoid making the decision, you will never see what's on the other side. Even if the decision is wrong and it hurts, it leads to pain or pleasure, like a worse life or a better life, you still will learn from that. Avoiding the decision does not help you grow. Advocating responsibility for your life situation does not help you grow. So, absolute ownership, own your decisions. Own your decisions and the reason you are like, it is a more successful mindset. It's a more successful mindset because it will help you make faster decisions. And a faster decision is a faster decision rather than going like, I don't want to make a decision and no, it's this thing, oh, it's not the right time, all of these other things going right there. In a year, these things don't go away. They'll still be there. So in a year's time, I'm not going to have moved forward. I won't have learned from it. Okay, and then so if you make a mistake and something doesn't go your way, like there's someone who takes 5 meetings to make a decision and the decision is not a decision as a salesperson, if I just keep blaming them, in 5 years' time, if I'm still going to be dealing with these things. So either I just ignore any sort of responsibility I could have for it, or I just ultimately own it. And then go like, okay, so what is it that I could do to make all of these people feel a bit more comfortable? Because I'm not going to be able to close everybody. But if I could close like maybe just of the 5 people that are like that, one of them, that's more people. And that's one more person's lives changed. And that's ultimately what the job of that that the salesperson is. That's what an effective sales conversation. Does the person need or not need the service? And does the person feel or not feel comfortable making the decision? And that's another way of putting it. Clementine Club, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video as always, and remember to believe in yourself because you're more capable of doing great things than you give yourself credit. I'll talk to you later.